For part 2 of this 3-part series, I'll demonstrate how to make a random ritual ingredients generator that uses the two random tables crowdsourced by experience points for their All Hail Yog podcast, The Ritual Story Arc. It will take some random results from the tangible and abstract versions of the ritual ingredients tables and then create an output that is rendered nicely to the screen. So in a way, generators in Chartopia are the same thing as random tables, but a generator could be considered simply as a parent random table that calls other random tables. It's essentially a starting point for generating results. So first of all, I'm going to show a useful way to create a new random table or random generator by cloning an existing chart. And the benefit of doing so is you get a lot of the metadata, such as the citation, the description, even the artwork. So we'll do that here by pressing the clone button. And we'll follow the chart in, go edit, and there we have is the basis of what will be our generator. So with the clone chart, it's easy sometimes just to go into the existing CSV and rip out the existing data rather than having to go through each row line by line and remove it, and then we can just easily clear out the existing items. So a little bit untoward, but we get all this metadata on the left, which is quite useful. Notice that it's private by default. So we'll give it a title. Let's call it Ritual Ingredients Generator, and we'll make it a D1. So the first thing we can do is we can link to our original table, which was called the tangible ritual ingredients. So let's give it a bit of a title. Now, because we use Markdown formatting, you can do something like this and do an H3 style header, maybe an H4 style header, and then we can call upon the chart by doing something like this. If we go chart with a square with a parenthesis, we can launch a dialog to try and find our original chart, and it was called, if I just go search tangible, it should show up. There we go, tangible ingredients. And if we go preview mode, you can see it, and if we roll on it, we can see a random tangible ritual ingredient. What else you can do is you can change the mode of this. So rather than being in a traditional table editing mode, we can change the edit mode to be what I call the template mode. It just affords a slightly different UI, which is more traditional Markdown. So it gives you a few things that the other one doesn't offer. Like there's a few shortcomings too, but it's always useful to demonstrate how it works. So we can go maybe the abstract, and then call upon this chart as well. Now, unfortunately, there's no autocomplete. If you do that, it doesn't show up, so we'll have to insert chart via this button here, and we can find the abstract table and add that too. If we do a test roll, we can now, whoop, what's happened here? Good old errors. Found out there's something wrong there. There we go, so the tangible and the abstract. So next, let's bump up the number of ingredients randomly. Say 2 to 4 tangible ones, but keep the abstract to a single item because, hey, they're just way too crazy for the parole PCs to have to find too many of. So what we can do is use the unique rows macro. Now the benefit of the unique rows macro is it allows us to roll on the tangible ritual ingredients multiple times, but ensuring that we only get unique results back. We don't want to get 2 politicians' tongues back as ingredients, for example. So I can do something like this: 1d3 plus 1. You don't need the preceding one if you don't want it. And now if we do a test roll, we get a comma separated list of potential tangible virtual ingredients. So a bottled ghost, a reflected light from a full moon, 2 fingertips from identical twins, and the eyes of a warlock with the devil's sight invocation. And for a basic generator, that's all we need. But the great thing about Chartopia is it allows the user to configure the random table slightly. For example, we've hard-coded the 1d3 plus 1 unique rows, but what happens if the user wants to have 10 ingredients? What happens if they want to create essentially a shopping list of ritual ingredients? So we can do something like that by adding input variables. For example, if we create a variable called num tangible ingredients, and then give it a value of what would be the dice value, we can then use that as a variable into this random table, or into this unique rows call of the chart. So for example, we call it num $, num tangible ingredients. You think I come up with better variable names, but no matter. And then we do a test roll. We can now set this to be something as basic as just the 1 value, or we could do 100 values, and suddenly we've got a shopping list. So unique rows will give you comma separated values by default, and sometimes that's not so good, as you've seen there. So this is an opportunity to show off the join macro. The join macro allows you to do things like change the comma to be a hyphen or a semicolon, but personally I like to use it to do markdown styled bullet point lists. And to use that, you could do something like this: join preceding asterisk, and then if we jump this down to a new line and then add a star and then end the quote and a comma, we now get the join macro. If you go to the preview mode, it's not super intuitive what's going on. What's going on here? Quote missing. Oh, forgot the opening quote. There we go. Preview. It's a little bit unintuitive about exactly what's going on, but if you do your test roll, you'll see that we now have a bullet point list, and this becomes super useful if suddenly your shopping list comes back. So thankfully, because I've cloned this, I don't have to re-add our All Hail Yog cover art or add the tags, but we'll have to make this public. We've got all the titles set. You'll notice that the description is still there, so we can just publish it. And if we go back to the home page, you'll see that our ritual ingredients generator is now on the main page for everyone to enjoy. There we go. And the thing is with these text fields, this is just a word of warning, if you do put something complete nonsense in here, you will get a useful error. So if you do want to have answers that are definitely going to work, you don't have to use a freeform text field. It is possible to use a drop-down list, and you can hard code the values that you want. And so for example, if you only want to allow 1d3 plus 2 or 1d3 plus up to say 5, you can add those individual entries to a drop-down list for the user to select from. The best part is, of course, is that default allows you to just use the roll straight away and no user intervention is required. So that's part 2 of the tutorial done. For part 3 of the series, I want to demonstrate how to create a Chartopia collection, which is a great way to bundle all these All Hail Yog themed charts into a common space.